Ghost of Tsushima is not perfect, but it's one of the best games I've played in a long time, and here's why. Ghost of Tsushima follows Jin Sakai. He's a young samurai who struggles to follow the samurai code when he realizes that it's costing the lives of his people. The game is set during the Mongol invasion of Japan, pitting samurai against foes who are much less predictable than the average street bandit. So Jin realizes this, and he decides to take matters into his own hands. So it's a really deep story of revenge, honor, redemption. I won't spoil the rest, but let's just say you really don't want to miss this one.
The Sakai steel is a truly fine blade, wielded by an even finer swordsman. But training with bamboo will only make you stronger.
I'll need strength for what lies ahead.
The game throws you into a huge, beautiful open island where your primary objective is to gain allies and build an army and fight back and reclaim your homeland. The gameplay loop is really well done to the point where you almost never find yourself bored. There's always something to do, explore, or collect. There's always villages, farms, or people on the side of the road to help. Even when you beat the main game, there's so much content that's waiting for you. And when it comes to open world game tropes, Ghost of Tsushima falls right in line with most open world RPGs like The Witcher 3 or Assassin's Creed. That being said, it still finds a lot of subtle ways of remaining distinct and unique from games like that. It has minimal UI elements and excellent voice acting, so sometimes it really does feel like you're watching an old samurai film. And one of the coolest parts for me is on the controller, you just swipe up on the touchpad and wind will blow in the direction of your next mission or hidden areas or side missions. However, where this game does fall short is in a few key areas, and that's combat and the camera. A lot of times I felt like I had to make my own fun with the combat by using combos and abilities that I had to unlock through the side missions known as Mythic Tales. The abilities are cool, but if I'm spamming triangle and that kills the enemies just as fast, there's less of an incentive to experiment with these different moves, especially at higher difficulties when one mistake can prove to be lethal. As for the camera, there was a few times where I would duck under a building and the camera would freak out, or during standoffs where my view would be obstructed by grass or a nearby tree. With this in mind, Ghost of Tsushima's gameplay and story get an 8.5 out of 10 from me. Okay, so if you don't think this is one of the most beautiful games ever made, I mean, sorry to break it to you, but you're wrong. Oh man, that was a lot, huh? This game really sets the tone for a grand adventure. The luscious environments, the sunsets, the grass, the flowers. Listen, I've been sick of muddy, gray, and brown settings from first-person shooters and zombie games and stuff like that. This is definitely a breath of fresh air. Although this game doesn't feature any photorealistic lighting or ray tracing or anything like that, it still looks really, really nice on a PlayStation 5, where it runs at 1800p and a locked 60 frames per second. If you have a nice 4K TV or monitor with proper HDR, this game can really be jaw-dropping. However, it's not perfect. Let's keep in mind it's still a PS4 game at the end of the day, and it hasn't been enhanced for PS5. There are certain areas that really need some anisotropic filtering and a little bit better ambient occlusion to clean it up. Footsteps in the snow and mud puddles aren't as detailed as in something like Red Dead 2, for example. And in a world where games are pushing high frame rates, ray tracing, and incredibly dense cities, I can't for the life of me give this game a 10 out of 10 in visuals, so I'll have to settle on a 9 out of 10. Until some kind of PS5 enhancement or PC version's out, maybe that'll change it up, but for now, it's gonna be a 9 out of 10. And don't get me wrong, this game is a miracle and a technical achievement on the PlayStation 4, but it still loses to games like The Last of Us 2 in terms of graphics. Okay, before we wrap things up, let's talk about value. I won't waste your time here. It's absolutely worth full price. I'm pretty cheap when it comes to games, and nowadays publishers are trying to push $70 for the price of AAA games. Even with that in mind, I can without a doubt in my mind say yes, this is enough. There's enough content here to warrant a full $60. Better yet, if you can wait until a sale, you can pick it up for around 40 bucks. That's even better. And what sweetens the deal is the free multiplayer update that adds even more content to the game, which you can play solo or with your friends. The multiplayer includes 9 missions and a survival mode that are really replayable, and they're separated from the original campaign, so you can play it whenever you want. Because of the sheer amount of content and time you can sink into this game, I think most people feel that they got their money's worth with this one. Easily a 10 out of 10 in terms of value and longevity depending on your playstyle. Okay, so after averaging all 3 scores, we had an 8.5 out of 10, a 9 out of 10, and a 10 out of 10. So we're left with a solid 9 out of 10, making this a must play for anyone who has a PlayStation. Listen, man, this game is just fun. I'm just gonna tell you how it is. This is just a fun game. If you get it for 40 bucks, even for 60 bucks, you're gonna have a great time. You're gonna enjoy yourself. If you have any friends that play the co-op with, that's also really fun. Game looks great. You can't go wrong with this one. Thanks for watching.